Hey everybody, welcome to another video by UPRC. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to change out your Spur gear and your Traxxas two-wheel drive RC, and also show you guys a nice tip on how to set your gear mesh just right. So what you'll need for this project is a standard Traxxas wheel nut wrench. You'll need Allen wrenches to remove the slipper clutch assembly from your Spur gear, and depending on what kind of screws you have here to loosen up or tighten your motor. For adjusting the gear mesh, you'll need Phillips head or Allen wrench, depending on what your model has. So first things first, go ahead and remove your wheel. That makes things a lot easier to get to up in here, and you have a lot more room to work with. So after you remove your wheel, what you want to do is loosen up and remove your slipper clutch assembly. So what we're going to do here is just loosen up the screw, the nut from the transmission output shaft. So take the nut off and the spring that comes with it also. Okay, now after that, what we got to do is pull your spur gear off. And now there's 3 screws that tie your brake pads in down here, which hold it to the spur gear. What you want to do is remove those 3 screws. Put them all in the same spot so you don't lose those. And after you remove that, the easiest thing to do is to take your wheel nut wrench, push against this bearing, which pops out the whole assembly, bearing and your brake pad assembly here. So this gear has to get replaced because, I don't know if you can see it, we've got broken teeth, and that's no good. Alright, so now take your brake pad assembly that you had here, and put it in the new gear. See, there's 3 holes there. Push it in, take your bearing, push the bearing on top. Don't push too hard, but you don't want to push out the assembly once you put that on. So now take your 3 screws, and we'll put those back in. Tighten all these back down. Tried to escape on me. So tighten all these back down. Alright, now get those tightened back down. Take your spur gear, slide it back onto your transmission shaft. Like so. Take that spring you took off, put it back on the transmission shaft, output shaft. Take the nut you took off, put that back on there. Now, if with this wheel off, it's going to spin when you tighten it down. So put your thumb here, and then use your other hands to put pressure on the tire over here under this tire. That'll keep your system from spinning on you when you're trying to tighten this down. So tighten it down to your liking. I usually like to go all the way down, and then I crank it back off about a half a turn. That's just my preferred setting. Too loose, you know, you're not going to go through any off-road. It's not going to go very well. Too tight, very hard on your transmission, which is why I now back it off half a turn, because I've gone through a couple transmissions. So now I got that back on. Now I'm going to show you guys a nice trick how to set your gear mesh just right. Alright guys, now that we got the spur gear changed out, here's a nice little tip for you guys for setting your gear mesh just right. Depending on your gear ratio, results may vary. I went from a little bit smaller to a little bit bigger spur gear, so I don't have as much room to do this as I did before, but I'm still going to show you guys this trick anyway. It's really nice. So what you want to do is take a piece of paper, notebook paper, receipts, whatever you got. I like notebook paper personally. What you want to do is put the piece of paper in between your two gears. Okay? So how this works is once you get it in there, roll the RC back just a little bit. Okay? You want to see the piece of paper is in there. With your motor loosened up, what you want to do is you push your motor into the spur gear, not too hard, but just kind of snug. And once you do that, you tighten the motor down. And when you get your paper back out, you should have nice defined teeth marks. Like I said, depending on your gear ratio, you might have to adjust it a little bit more after that. But if you're running like an 83-32 or a higher 80s and somewhere in the 20s for your pinion gear, this works great. But if you're running like what I've got, an 86-32, it's already tight to get the spur gear to fit in there, so you can't do much adjustment anyways. But if you're running like a mid 20s and high 80s or whatever, something like that for your gear ratio, it works fantastic. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found the video helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up, and we'll talk to you guys more about that in our next uploads. And thank you all so much for joining me, and I hope you have a good night.